it out.
Those stairs just do that.
They keep getting taller.
Right?
And then wearing a mask.
Thank goodness the
Oh,
elevator is working.
Wait, is it elevator working?
it's
Yeah.
terrible.
We got it working very.
I mean, if I'm walking over there and I'm that's terrible. It's telling me, Teresa, you need help. Losing.
Okay, we are now recording.
Oh.
All right. I would like to call this meeting to order at 6:24 PM. And we will do roll call. Aviana,
Here.
Gutierrez, Polari, Papua,
Here.
and Rudolph present. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. I need a motion and a second to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Dr. Pittman, are there any public comments?
There are none.
All right. Moving right along. Item 4 is a board appointment, and I'd like to pass it back over to Superintendent Mifflin.
Thank you. So we are having a special board meeting because at our last board meeting, I brought to your decision-making body to decide on whether or not we interviewed 2 candidates. You did not select one of the candidates to appoint them as filling the one vacant seat from Mr. Owens. You then directed me to go to county council and find out what exactly are our next steps in terms of filling that seat, whether we go to an election, can we choose which election, what are our options? And so in conferring with county council, they have stated that Ed Code states that within 60 days of the date of the vacancy, so for us, Mr. Owens' vacant seat was on October 13th, so that would be December 8th, we have to either A, appoint somebody to fill that seat, or B, call an election, and the election has to be the first available election after 130 days. So that is the April election. So due to the fact that there are no other items at the April election, it would just be ours. It would cost us, the estimate is anywhere from $150,000 to $180,000 to hold that election. So we need to do pot 1, possibly 2 things tonight. The first is for you to have a discussion on whether or not you want to discuss the 2 candidates and appoint, fill the seat with a vote. And with the 4 of you, you are not allowed to abstain. You need to vote for one or the other. And so it would be a vote of 3 to 1 would seat the person. Or 2, you can decide to say, you know what, we don't want to, and we're gonna go ahead and call an election, and then I will follow the process and we will hold the election in April. If you choose neither of those, which technically you can, then the San Mateo County Office of Education will call the election for April, and we will still have to pay for the election. So either way, you either appoint somebody tonight or we have an election in April.
Mhm.
So are there any questions that you have for me?
So,
Go ahead.
well, you had said that, so no abstention, everyone has, all the city board members will choose one of the 2 candidates.
Yes.
If it happens to be 2-2, are we allowed to deliberate?
Yes. So what will happen is if it is 3-1 or 4-1, that person will be selected, and I will, if it happens to be Ms. Brown, who is here, I will read the oath of office for her. If it happens to be Ms. Sabato, who is listening in because she had to work this evening, I will administer the oath of office at our December meeting. If it is 2-2, then yes, you can have discussion to try to convince the one way or the other for somebody to change their vote to land on one of the candidates.
And the discussion will still have to be.
Everything is an open section.
Open
not
section,
just- Yes.
okay.
So you can have a discussion or about what you guys want to do, or somebody can make a motion to vote or a motion to hold an election. So either discussion about one way or the other, voting or holding an election, or somebody can make a motion to do one of those 2 things.
I think we, I like to propose that we have a quick discussion to discuss what we're gonna do as far as vote.
Oh.
And then, you know, I think with Mr. Owens, his retirement, I think it is in the best interest for us to make this decision and not wait for this to go to the election. So if we make this votes, cast our votes tonight, then we gotta put it happen, see.
I don't think any of us over here wants to do any election, because we know what the what the effect, what's going to happen. And even taking $1 out of the school district just kills me. It's just take it out of, you know, especially the children that needs it more than an election.
So, yeah, I'm grateful that we have 2 viable candidates for nomination. And so I will go ahead, unless anyone has any other comments, I'm just going to move that we go to a vote for the nomination.
Is there a second?
Sure.
All in favor of voting tonight?
Aye.
Okay, so, I'll run the vote, since I'm not voting. And so, again, would you like to have discussion about the candidates before you vote, or do you want to take a vote? And if it goes 3-1 or 4-0, then we just move forward?
Do we want to allow the candidates to say anything if they?
Any last comments?
The only reason, they were interviewed at the last one, and to be fair, since this is a last minute, special board meeting, and, the other candidate, Sabado, because she was working, was unable to come.
Mhm.
I would prefer to even both of them, since she isn't given the opportunity to be here in person,
Mhm.
that neither one of them speak. You have their applications, they both spoke, to be fair to both candidates. So we want to vote or we want to discuss? Just vote.
I think we'll just go to voting.
Okay, so, Mr. Rudolph,
I will vote for Ms. Donovan.
Vote for Ms. Brown.
Ms. Elder.
Go.
It's tough to.
It is,
Five,
they're both
yeah.
really great candidates. They're both very involved in our community.
It's a good problem to have.
So if we decide on Ms. Brown, we can have an additional discussion.
Ms. Brown.
okay, so that gives us a vote of 2 and 2. So now, Mr. Rudolph, and Ms. Gutierrez Galari, who voted for Ms. Sabado, can make some statements about why they voted for Ms. Sabado. Mr. Aviana and Ms. Vapua can say why they voted for Ms. Brown. And then if anybody decides they want to switch their vote, they can switch their vote at that. Does that make sense?
Or can we go down the line?
Sure.
Sure. No, I voted for Ms. Sabado. I've known her in the community for a long time. And I know that she has a direct relationship with many of the kids in our district. I think that, as board members, I kind of put that as the highest priority because, that's why we're here. We're for the kids. We're not even really, we're here for the parents. We're here for the kids to represent the children. So that's why I voted for Ms. Sabado.
I voted tonight for Mrs. Brown. I appreciate her efforts in making these meetings and has shown her ability to want to be here. you know, based on what I've reviewed on and her background, I believe she can make an impact on this board.
I voted for Ms. Elder. Additionally, because of the relationship that she has within the community, she's very familiar with the school, both how it is as an adult, as well as someone who grew up in the system, and is familiar with how Bayshore, the dynamics of Bayshore. Anything that neither of them know, they'll both be able to learn, such as you did when you started, Rick. I think it's important of making a connection with the people within the community and being on the ground, talking to everybody, and just getting a feel for what's going on from the students with the students. And I think that Ms. Sabado has that. We all know that she has a relative that works at the school, so that'll also give her a different perspective, but she'll also need to learn what her role as a board member is and where the line is between being a board member and having her sister be a staff member in the school. And so if she's appointed, she'll learn that stuff. Much to Mr. Rudolph, whose wife also works at the school. So I think it'll add a different dynamic. I know Ms. Brown has a son that is also a board member for a different district, and that'll give her a different perspective. But they're a much larger school, and so it'll be different from Bayshore. And I think that because Max grew up here, her heart is here, and she knows what the kids are going through on a day-to-day basis, having worked with them and talked to them and coaching them. And so that's why I voted for her. And I think her heart will always be with the kids. And she has that good relationship with the parents, which is good because we need more parent involvement.
I've known Miss Brown, how long, Miss Brown?
We say.
Yes, and I know Miss Brown too ran with me too when we were deciding on when Mr. Norm were here for being PTO president. She ran with me, and then also was it the site council too?
Site council.
That you were on it too. I've known Max for about that, Miss Sabado, for that long. She coaches my son and she's hardcore. She's a hardcore coach. And yes, of all the things I've heard my colleagues said about Max, that's who she is. The reason why I voted for you, it's because you will bring color on this board, on this panel. And one of the things that Bayshore is working on is equity. And having children that have the same color skin as your color, Miss Brown, and then having parents that have the same color as your color skin, Miss Brown, bring them to somewhat feel belonging. Because we all know that's and I don't want to be biased here, that most of our children that are in that category of suspension and kicked out of the classroom are the same color skin as Miss Brown. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Max is not a terrific, she's a terrific person. But that's the only thing I'm looking at, is to bring another person of a different color on this board, because that's what our community wants to look at. Now, she might not have any communication or any children here, but she's been here almost the same length of time as Ms. Sabado has been here. She's had children that graduated, grandchildren that graduated from alumni of this school, and she's known the system. It's not that she knows better than Max, but I only want to bring Ms. Brown on the board because of a different color. Wouldn't it be nice to be a rainbow on this board? So that's why I voted for Ms. Brown.
Okay, so we'll take another vote. Mr. Rudolph?
Well, I just would like, if we could just take a moment, I think that everyone gave very compelling reasons. And so I would just like to maybe take 60 seconds for everyone to just
To
pause
process?
and process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And these candidates, they're aware that it's gonna be to the term.
It's through November of
Mhm.
2022. And then they have to make the decision if they want to run
Right.
by August. Yes. And then at that point, there will be 3 seats. There will be the seat that they are filling, there will be Board Member Gutierrez Polaris seat and Board Member Rudolph's seat.
And if nobody's coming for them, running for them, those seats are still gonna be available. If nobody wants to run,
So if in November, Board Member Rudolph's seat, Board Member Gutierrez Polaris seat, and this seat is open. If there are only 3 candidates that put their names in, then there is not an election and those 3 candidates get the seat. Whether or not it's this person, Board Member Gutierrez Polaris and Board Member Rudolph, or if one of them chooses not to run and it's the other one and these 2 candidates, if there are 3 seats and 3 candidates, that's who gets to be on the board.
I know we took a moment to process. Did anyone have any of the board members have any other follow-up comments they wanted to make regarding their choice? We'll go ahead. Do we need to move again for a vote?
Nope, we just
Okay.
take another vote.
So we'll take another vote, and if it's okay, we'll start at the other end.
Yeah, absolutely.
On this one?
no.
No? You don't? You'll start?
Again, my vote is for Mrs. Brown.
My vote still stands.
Somebody else.
Well, he went first last time, so just out of respect, it would be great if
And what happens if it's the same 2, 2, 2?
We can keep doing this if we need to. If we don't, then it
Then
will
it
go
goes
to an
straight.
election. But we can keep voting if we want. It's up to us.
Okay. My vote stands.
and Mr. Rudolph.
Um, Suspenseful pauses. Yeah. Very suspenseful. I'm processing
Yeah,
to
It's a
apologize.
lot of information.
And it's not an easy decision.
It's not.
I'm gonna have to stay with my existing voters for Salvador for now. Well,
Okay.
I understand everyone's priorities and And again, I know we have a good problem of having two amazing viable candidates here, so. Is there anyone that has any board members that have any other comments they'd like to get?
I don't have additional comments.
I can give up my seat for the next candidate, for the other candidate.
So if somebody sitting on the board wants to step down in order to have 2 seats for 2 candidates, that is an option that you can take. That doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to be these 2 candidates though, because what would happen is you would have to go through the exact same process. Now, it could be a shorter process, because, well, it could be a shorter process because we could say we already have applicants and then open it up to, but we would have to post it and open it up to other applicants. So at that point, then you would have 2 open seats. One must be filled by December 8th. The other one would have 60 days from when that person chose to leave. But then we might get another community member who decides to apply, and we're still in the same situation of you actually having to make a decision and vote for somebody. So that is an option. But I just don't think that that is what's in the best interest of the district to have, unless you were already planning on telling us that you were leaving right now. I just don't think that that's the best option to take, because we have a quality board with 1 seat. And if you are up for election in November and you just choose not to run, that's the opportunity for you to decide not to run again. But again, you are elected officials, you are in the seat, you get to decide what you want to decide.
I think what's throwing me off is your selection of Ms. Brown based on her color. Because looking at our board right now, we're pretty diverse. Each of us is a different representative of a different culture and nationality.
We're not quite diverse. We don't have anybody that represents Black American, African American.
But we're not like all the same race. Do you know what I mean? Because we have a Caucasian, well, mix.
I am mixed, but I identify as white, yes.
Okay, superintendent and Mr. Rudolph, and then he's of Hispanic heritage. I'm Filipino, and you're Pacific Islander. So you're not Latin heritage?
Filipino,
He's Filipino.
Straight up?
Filipino Spanish,
Well, he's,
Okay, you're mixed.
majority Filipino, just
I
to
wasn't
clarify.
But we're pretty diverse as a board.
we are diverse, but not at the top of what's called diverse. What else, what others, I'm lost for. What other children that we serve here, but us? What is missing? What's missing, Joy? We never had a Black American, African American board member. How long you being on the board? Never had a Black American. So that's where I'm coming from.
Ms. Fletcher,
Yes.
Miss who?
Ms. Fletcher.
Anita Fletcher.
Anita Fletcher?
She is who no,
She's Filipino.
yes, she's who she replaced.
Who am I thinking of that was on the board and
That was the principal. She was principal for a hot second.
oh, Cecil were here.
Well, I have to say, I appreciate this conversation. I think these are conversations that need to be had. So I think this is healthy. And I also appreciate the convictions of each of you and your rationale on that. I do, again, I hate it when decisions come down to money, but as Ms. Fukua stated at the beginning, we are a small district, and I would hate to see a single dollar have to leave, let alone the 6 figures that we were being quoted. So I'm going to definitely push us for a decision to nominate someone and come to a consensus, even if it takes us a bit of time. But that said, I wanted to preface that again with, I do appreciate everyone's convictions regarding their choice. So if no one wanted to make any further comments, I would definitely like to put it to another vote. And I obviously, no pressure, leave it open, and whoever would like to make a statement or make a vote first can go ahead. If we don't have any volunteers, then we'll start down the line.
I'm voting for Mrs. Brown. She's shown enough effort to be here, want to be here, make an impact based on, her background. Again, I believe she can make an impact here in this community with this Bay Shore School District, and there's a lot that she can help us provide for this.
Scary.
Yeah.
Did you vote still stand, Jason?
Joy, what is your vote? And it's okay. Vote with your conviction. I mean, don't feel like you need to compromise.
I think in this situation, that's all that we can do, because then we'll be at a standstill and it'll continue to be a 2-2 vote. So in the end, one of us or both of us will need to change our mind either way. Correct. Because I don't think the other 2 will change. And so for the betterment of our district and the kids and our budget, we probably do need to change our vote. I still strongly stand behind Max, but I'll go ahead and change my vote.
For Ms. Brown. Okay. And out of a sign of solidarity, I will also change my vote to Ms. Brown. So it'll be so.
Okay, so we have a vote of 4-0, selecting Ms. Marion Brown as the next board member for the Bay Shore Elementary School District. So since you are here tonight, what I would like to do is to come and stand right here. And I'm going to administer the oath of office to you. And then our December board meeting, you will sit at the table with all powers that all of our other board members have. So just repeat after me. Would you like to have it in front of you so that you can read it, since you just put your glasses on? I'll still read it to you, but give me 1 second. I, Marion Brown,
I, Marion Brown,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America
the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
So that is all that is on our agenda.
All right.
So before we adjourn, I do want to remind the board that our next board meeting is actually a Saturday board session on Saturday, December 11th from 9 to noon. And it will be facilitated by Mr. Dana Tom. You should have received an email from him. And Ms. Brown, I will give him I'll get you set up with an email address and I will connect him with you.
Great.
He's gonna reach out to you individually. He's gonna have conversations with you on talking to you about your role as a board member so that he can design a effective study session for us so that we can come together as a governance team and not necessarily come together, but just strengthen our work together. And so that will be on December 11th, and then our regular board meeting is that next Tuesday, December 14th. So with that, I don't have anything. We can.
Is that a in session thing? Are we gonna have the meeting here, the 11th?
The 11th is in person, yes. Yeah. Yes.
Good question.
Two things.
Are there any other questions before we adjourn?
I have no further
There
questions.
will be breakfast on the.
Yes, there will be breakfast. There will be breakfast and snacks.
Can I just hang out and look at the books in the library for a few? I mean, I don't know when you guys are going to leave, but I just want to check it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you.
With that, we will officially